suck my dick. Okay, that is the only answer. What do you mean? Oh, you're worried about people fucking chanting death to the IDF? Okay, don't fucking do a genocide. Boom, easy. Oh my God. Oh, people don't like Israel. Oh, what am I supposed to do about it? Fucking yell at people? Yell at people until they like you? What are politicians supposed to do about it?
Firstly, I do think that, like, if I take the equivalent of the war in Ukraine, I'm unequivocal about which side of that war I'm on. I want Ukraine to win. Would I be celebrating or chanting for the death of Russian soldiers? No. I want to see an end to the war, and I want to see an end to the conflict. I'd also say to the Israeli embassy,
Could you imagine? Oh my God, that's actually really funny, because like everyone was like, all Russians are orcs. They all need to be ethnically cleansed. Okay. That's the type of shit that was popping off in the Western world when Russia unjustifiably invaded Ukraine. Okay. Could you imagine someone going to jail over that statement? Could you imagine someone being censored over that statement? And that's a war. Okay. This is a fucking genocide. It's like extra war. Like that is still unacceptable, still immensely violent. Okay. Totally fucking the responsibility of Russia. But this is genocide.
Get your own house in order in terms of the conduct of your own citizens and the settlers in the West Bank. So, you know, I think...
Hassan with the controversial takes again. Let's go. Wait, what?
There's a serious point there by the Israeli embassy I take seriously. I wish they'd take the violence of their own citizens towards Palestinians more seriously.
The latest tempest stirred up by the singer who unleashed Gangnam Style on the world. Psy was in Washington yesterday to perform for President Obama and his family at the annual Christmas in Washington benefit. But first, he had to apologize for some anti-American rapping in his past. ABC's Dan Harris here with the details. Good morning, Dan.
This was a shocker. Didn't see this one coming. Psy, the cherubic South Korean, author of the ubiquitous
Cherubic?
Please Get This Out of My Head dance craze inspiring Gangnam Style is, it turns out, a man with a controversial past, one that is now ensnaring the President of the United States. Late Sunday, the president and his family mingled with elves.
Merry Christmas!
And posed in front of a Christmas tree at what is usually a festive but deeply unnewsworthy Christmas in Washington event. But mixed in with the cheer this year was controversy, courtesy of this guy in the red sequin top, seen here getting ready to take the stage.
Oppan Gangnam Style.
He is Psy. You will know him from the Gangnam Style music video, the most watched clip in the history of YouTube. Turns out the man who made countless Americans dance around like drunken horses has a history of vitriolic anti-Americanism. Yes, Psy, the guy who's been on every talk show from Ellen to Leno, where he even performed for U.S. troops.
Bro, does anyone know what he's saying? Because I do, and I've talked about this before. I wonder if all the new heads know, because it's crazy.
Back in the early 2000s, Psy got up on stage in his home country and smashed a toy version of an American tank, and later performed a song whose lyrics included, "Kill those expletive Yankees who have been torturing Iraqi captives, daughters, mothers, daughters-in-law, fathers, kill them all slowly and painfully." Psy issued a statement saying he was deeply sorry for how these lyrics could be interpreted.
How could they be interpreted, dude? What do you mean? Oh, man, he's so dope. Yeah, that's my fucking goat, dude.
Be interpreted. Despite an online uproar, President Obama decided to attend Sunday night's Christmas show. The White House insisted it had...
By the way, it's not even a mistranslation. It's also very deliberately why he's saying that. He literally in the song says, who have been torturing Iraqi captives. Okay? Like, he leaves nothing up to questioning. Yeah. And the song he wrote was after a U.S. tank ran over 2 Korean schoolchildren, I believe. Yes. It is directly in context.
how these lyrics could be interpreted. Despite an online uproar, President Obama decided to attend Sunday night's Christmas.
How will I defend you, dog? Yeah, there is no, I mean, he very clearly stated it, you know?
Control over the guest list. One big question now is what will happen next to Psy's meteoric career?
Again, it's like, I can't believe Psy would say such a horrible thing. Also, how about you stop the systematic rape and pillage of Korea? You know? It's like, especially in that part of the world where there is an American base, there is unlimited violence, okay? Mass rapes, car accidents, no penalties whatsoever. Like, as an American, do you accept his apology? I'm actually annoyed that he apologized.
If you were sitting around making up horrible things that a pop star could say that would get them in trouble, you'd have a hard time coming up with worse things than this.
Oppan Gangnam Style.
Well, Psy is now calling his protest language inflammatory and inappropriate. The man with the invisible horse and lasso now has to figure out how to rein in a controversy that threatens to make him a one-hit wonder much faster than he otherwise might have been.
Come on, it was barely an apology. While it's important that we express our opinions, I deeply regret the inflammatory and... No, he did a fucking... Car accidents? What do you mean? Yeah, when your fucking Marines get drunk and drive their vehicles directly into like a Japanese family in Okinawa. That's what I mean. Or like the last one in Okinawa was when a Marine fell asleep at the wheel and killed a fucking whole family. Or when they get drunk and beat someone to death at a bar, or raping children. That's another one, you know. Commonplace around American bases. Anyway, the reason why I showed that is because this is not new. Yeah, here's the story. Great and breaking news. This morning, the U.S. Parole Commission offered the full parole and immediate release with no supervision of Navy Lieutenant Ridge Alknoys. Here's a picture of Alknoys' family reunited. Missing context. Navy Lieutenant Ridge Alknoys was charged with killing 2 Japanese civilians in a car crash in May 2021 after he fell asleep at the wheel. He was sentenced to prison for 3 years in Japan, and then America was like, no, he's not. Give him back to us. Good news, says fake crapper. That's it. And look at this beautiful family reunited. Okay. How about the fucking Japanese family that will never reunite because he killed them? Oh, this is another one. U.S. soldiers charged in Japan for rape of a minor. Also hilarious that they use this Getty image, by the way, because that thing that you're seeing also routinely fucking crashes into Japanese houses and kills people. If it doesn't crash into Japanese houses and kills people, Japanese people, it ends up killing the fucking Marines on board, which it did as recently as twice last year or like a year and a half ago. This is the reported incidents. Anyway, let's continue. Let's see.
Has had his visa revoked very publicly by the Deputy Secretary of State in a tweet, retweeted by Secretary Rubio and confirmed by other officials. So What's the deal with this law? Does it not really apply unless you want it to? Unless you don't want to talk about it?
Well, yeah, I can't speak to the decisions at the times of when to discuss something of this sort. What we do know is a very public dynamic with individuals. We have a very public policy and procedure and process now that we're discussing regarding national security and how we are handling the visa process. In this particular case, of course, what you're referring to is the tweet from our Deputy Secretary of State, Christopher Landau, that the State Department has revoked the U.S. visas for the members of the Bob Villain band in light of their hateful tirade at Glastonbury, including leading the crowd in death chants. Foreigners who glorify violence and hatred are not welcome visitors to our country.
Unless they're Israeli, in which case we will roll out the fucking red carpet. Even if you are directly targeted by the International Criminal Court, as former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant or current Prime Minister Benjamin fucking Netanyahu. Or if you're a South African refugee of what we have described as white genocide, even though the white population of South Africa does not agree with our assessment, we will welcome you. We will also welcome Itamar Ben-Gvir. Yeah, foreigners who glorify violence and hatred are not welcome visitors to the country. If this were actually a policy, Israelis would be routinely denied visas. Nope.
Now, we've stated that when it comes to how we vet people, if they are going to be coming here to be helpful, to be nice people, to be great tourists, or if they're coming for other reasons, that every sovereign nation has a right to decide who's going to come to this country. So we've been public about that standard. And this was a very public event that violated, as you've seen from...
Bro, in the past, and maybe even today, if someone went on stage and said death to America, I don't think we would apply this standard. Like, as I showed you with Gangnam Style, fucking Psy literally said death to American Yankees and their immediate relatives, okay? He said death to American Yankees for torturing people in Iraq, including their mothers-in-law, including their in-laws, okay? And he sung to Barack Obama at the White House. What are we talking about? What's next? People can't say death to Nazis? Like, what are we doing here?
The Deputy Secretary's tweet, that very basic standard about the nature of who we want to let into the country. That's all right. It is important the American people support us taking care about who comes here.
Death to nobody soon? No. You can say death to Arabs, death to Palestinians, death to Iran, death to the IRGC. You can say whatever the fuck you want. It's just you can't say death to the IDF. That's the whole point.
Here, and I think his tweet and the Secretary's language and his approach on the policy speaks for itself.
Okay, so it's basically, if it's a public kind of facing thing, then
well,
you're
I didn't say
okay
that. I
with...
said in this case that's what has occurred. Right. I think that it's the policy certainly is clear for individuals, but when we're thinking about the nature of the policy itself, that is...
Israel had warned people to evacuate areas in North Gaza, Gaza City and Deir Bala. They were urged to head south, but 80% of the strip is now an Israeli militarized zone or under evacuation orders. At least 20 people were killed this afternoon in an Israeli strike on the beachfront Al-Baka cafe in Gaza City.
Yeah, this is what the fuck's
and
going
warning,
on.
This report from Porrick O'Brien does contain some very distressing details.
After this, we're going to move on to new Griff just dropped. Oh my God, Trump fragrances are here. They're called Victory 4547 because they're all about winning, strength, and success. Dude, why is he doing this? I don't understand. He like released a telephone too. They released like a Trump phone too. And then quickly unreleased it. I don't get, how much money do you need, bro? You're the president.
This was filmed from the famous Al Baqa Cafe on the beachfront in Gaza City.
This is, for the record, this is important. The Al Baqa Cafe is one of the areas that has like working internet, and that's where a lot of the journalists gather. Like, it's like a known area for the remaining journalists that Israel hasn't killed yet.
A few weeks ago by the photographer Ishmael Abu Khattab. The cafe was renowned as a place of work and refuge for artists and journalists. Today at around lunchtime, it was hit by an Israeli missile. Ishmael was killed along with at least 20 others. Abu Abdullah was there when the strike took place.
It was a missile from an F-16, a military aircraft, not a drone or a bomb or a shell from a boat. The F-16 shook the place. It struck this place, as you can see, pools of blood, piles of martyrs. I mean, if you had seen the scene from the beginning, there were piles of bodies.
We asked the IDF today who they were targeting and are still awaiting a response. The attack came after Israel carried out a wave of airstrikes across the Strip overnight and into today. The IDF had warned of a major offensive over the weekend, triggering another cycle of mass displacement. With Donald Trump pressuring Netanyahu for a ceasefire and at the same time calling for his corruption trial to be dropped, it's not clear whether this is part of a final military push before a pause in the violence or just another gear shift in its relentless acceleration.
Well, when Health Secretary Wes Streeting was asked about bomb villain yesterday, he condemned them. But he also said that Israel needed to get its house in order with regard to the West Bank. He was referring to an upsurge in violence where settlers have stepped up their attacks on Palestinian towns in the occupied territories. There are many such examples, and our chief correspondent, Alex Thompson, went to see one town, the site of horrific violence already this week.
Mere location, the difference between living and dying. These houses located nearest to the neighbouring illegal Israeli settlements, and here, near, means vulnerable. Wednesday night, massed groups of Israeli...
Yeah, maybe people understand why people are chanting such things in the West even.
These settlers invade Kafir Malik, burning cars, trying to burn down houses. Israeli soldiers look on, firing warning shots vertically, then leveling their weapons, they advance at the Palestinians, not the settlers.
But even that wasn't enough, because then the fucking settlers turned around and beat the fuck out of the Israeli occupying forces later. And it got to such a point where the Israeli police had to step in and stop the settlers from beating the fuck out of the Israeli occupying force soldiers. And then it led to one of the funniest things I've ever fucking heard from Bezalel Smotrich, who had to release a statement. He had to release a statement condemning the settlers and saying anyone who raises a hand against the IDF is like raising a hand against their own. Settlers and the IDF are one and the same. Yeah. The IDF and settlers are one and the same, he said. Look, the incident on Saturday night in Binyamin will still be investigated and clarified. Meanwhile, what is clear? Live fire by the IDF against Jews is forbidden and dangerous crossing of a red line, deserving of a thorough investigation and personal conclusions. He's saying that the IDF shot in the vicinity of Jews, like settlers, and therefore it was worthy of like a retaliation. The IDF and the settlers are one and the same. Whoever raises a hand against the IDF fighters is still against the settlement, not for it. And yet live fire on Jews is forbidden and dangerous. Twice he mentions this, as in he's more mad still at the IDF. Amazing.
For decades across the West Bank, Israeli settlers have been stealing Palestinian land. Now, though, emboldened by...
Yes, only on Jews. Yes, he's saying that specifically. No, he's not mixing his words, brother. What are you talking about? What is this? Why? Why do you want me to watch this? Take a day off.
Israel's wars, and with support from far-right government ministers, they appear to feel they can act with impunity.